Kabu. This handsome old man is the 3rd gym leader in Pokemon Sword and Shield. He realized he stood no chance against Wallace in the Hoenn region, so he picked up and moved to Galar, only to be outshined by a weirdo with a Charizard. But sometimes these games write off characters as weak when in fact they're pretty powerful, they're pretty scary. So today I'm going to find out if the Man of Fire has what it takes to become champion. I also wanted to get to use fire types one last time before the Diamond and Pearl remakes came out, since the originals literally only had Chimchar and Ponyta available before the endgame. I doubt the remakes are gonna do that, but you never know. Up until getting the 3rd badge, Kabu's team has 3 Pokemon. Sizzlipede, who shows up 1% of the time through random encounters on Route 3. Vulpix, who shows up as an overworld Pokemon 15% of the time, also on Route 3. And Growlithe, who shows up in the same conditions as Vulpix, but in the other game. So I bred one on my main save and then traded the egg over to Kabu for this run. Since we were a little underleveled, I challenged all the trainers in Milo's gym and claimed my first badge after setting everything on fire, including my recording software apparently, because all the footage I had after the Milo fight got corrupted. I didn't even think to check if everything was exporting correctly since it all looked fine on my preview screen, thanks Elgato. So the battle with Nessa looked like this, the battle with Kabu looked like this, and it stayed that way up until my fight with Hop all the way on Stone's side. Having realized that there was no way to recover this footage, I had to delete my save and start all over again. The good news was that I had already battled Nessa as Kabu and learned how he could win. First, I had to make sure that both Vulpix and Growlithe were fully evolved, so I grabbed one Firestone from the wild area next to the Motostalk wall and another from the Digging Bros. Since Kabu prides himself on training against water types in Galar Mine too, I grabbed the TRs for Energy Ball and Wild Charge. I also realized that Arcanine didn't have Intimidate as its ability, so instead of breeding and transferring who knows how many more eggs till I win the 50-50, and I know how painful that is, I went to the one place in the game that sells ability capsules on the cheap. After all this prep, I was finally ready to face Nessa. Ninetales takes down Goldeen with 2 energy balls, and Arrokuda with just 1. Nessa Dynamaxes her Dreadnought, and even though it got hit by a 4 times effective move, the Turtle survived with about half of its HP left. How is it so bulky? Ninetales gets obliterated with a G-Max water move and is followed up by Arcanine, whose intimidation will be key to winning this battle. It's also the only time when Kabu has to break character and Dynamax Arcanine instead of the bug, because Dreadnought outspeeds us in the rain and it is the only way to let our dog take a swing at it. Of course, Nessa's Pokemon survives with a few HP to go. Kabu goes for the Max Guard to stall out the final turn of Dynamax and then sends out his final Pokemon. Even without the rain, Nessa's Turtle is more like a hare. But thanks to Arcanine's intimidation and the lack of rain boost thanks to stalling, Sizzlipede manages to survive one Razor Shell to the face. It then lands a finishing hit with a Bug Bite, netting Kabu a win against Nessa on his first try. Kabu's own gym is up next, where one can catch a Sizzlipede without that annoying 1% spawn rate. You can also encounter a Vulpix here even if you're playing it in Pokemon Shield. I thought this was supposed to be version exclusive, Game Freak. Never mind, it is just less common in this version. The only other notes I have on Kabu is that, like Alistair, he has an evolved version of a Pokemon at a lower level than its actual evolution level. Anyways, Kabu can beat Kabu, so next I catch the other 2 Pokemon he has on his team. First is a Salandit from the Stony Wilderness on a sunny day. Next is Torkoal, who shows up as a random encounter on Route 6, but also shows up in the warm-up tunnel on the Isle of Armor. Listen, I need the soup for my Gigantamax, so might as well grab the guaranteed turtle here and save myself some time. And finally, I have made it back to the Hop fight where everything went wrong the last time. But since I changed my recording software with the help of a friend, it is time to safely go face the 4th gym. The nice thing about Kabu's team for the Champion Cup is that it actually has nice type coverage, so his Ninetales knows Extra Sensory. I guess B also has good coverage since her Hitmontop hit us back with a Revenge and finished off Ninetales with a Quick Attack. Arcanine was out next, and it also got coverage you can count on. We too can play rough, B. Her Surfetch'd is rather bulky, so not only does it survive 2 hits from a fairy type move, but it also got to set up a swords dance and get revenge on Arcanine. Since it barely had any HP left, I sent out Salazzle next and sludge waved it goodbye. G-Max Machamp was pretty slow, and Salandit poisoned it with its fangs before getting knocked out. Torkoal was bulky enough to stall out the Dynamax, but it also meant B could set up 2 max Chi strikes, so her crit hit rate would be pretty darn high. Kabu hits her with a G-Max Sandinferno, but fails to knock out her Machamp, who strikes back with a Rematch, and of course gets a critical hit. But that doesn't knock us out, and then it goes down to poison damage. I'm having deja vu about this fight. Anyways, Oppo is next. Since Torkoal isn't super underleveled anymore, it gets to lead the party for the rest of the run. Kabu uses the first turn to set up Stealth Rock, and then does some damage to Weezing before getting knocked out. Ninetales follows up with an extra Sensory to knock out the owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome. Oppo follows up with Togekiss, which does not like our Floaty Rocks, and throws them back at us. Ninetales manages to burn it and chips off enough damage with a quick attack so that the burn damage can finish it off. Salazzle is up next, and I was today days old when I learned that Corrosion only lets you inflict the poison status onto steel type Pokemon, but it doesn't actually let you hit them with poison type moves. Whoops. Guess I'll have to settle for Ember instead. And since Alcremie doesn't have a steel typing to protect it from my attacks, I used Sludge Wave. No Dynamax needed. Easy peasy. I don't think there's a lemon Pokemon squeezy. This is where the easy parts of the gym challenge ends though. The 6th gym is a major threat to Kabu, and since this run is in Pokemon Sword, I'll be going up against Gordy, who sports 4 rock type Pokemon on his team. Not only that, but the rule about only getting 2 tries still stands, so I can't just keep falling in the same hole over and over. First up is Torkoal against Gordy's Barber. Of course he starts with a water type. Since Stealth Rock won't do much in his gym, I go for an Earthquake. But Gordy gets the first move and uses a Shell Smash to boost both his speed and attack stats. Even with his defenses lowered, our EQ didn't shake him at all. Arcanine was out next, hoping to get some help from Intimidate. It apparently wasn't scary enough. Ninetales was my last hope. I got lucky when Barbacle missed its Razor Shell, so Ninetales could live and finish it off. Shuckle was next and used its Power Split move to boost its own attack while lowering mine. I barely did any damage, meanwhile, the Shuck was hitting hard. Ninetales got knocked out, and so Salazzle was next. Same deal. We barely did any damage while Gordy kept throwing more and more rocks at us. It was all down to Centiskorch, and while it did manage to finally KO the Shuckle, it got absolutely squished by Gordy's G-Max Rock. To be defeated by a mere Shuckle. No wonder Kabu's league card goes on about him having ups and downs in his career. I too would be questioning my career choice if I was getting stomped on by one of these dudes. Oh. Anyways, I think I know of a good way to win this. Just gotta take a quick detour to... Now that Torkoal has the right ability, let's try this again. Gordy starts out with Shell Smash and still tanks out an Earthquake from Torkoal, but thanks to the effects of Sunny Day, his Razor Shell doesn't do enough damage to one-shot Torkoal, so our second Earthquake finishes off Gordy's first Rockman. Shuckle rolls out next and misses its Stone Edge, then misses its Rock Tomb, and by the 3rd turn, Torkoal finally manages to take it out with a Heat Crash. The odds are stacked in my favor now, but Gordy wants to unstack those odds with Stonejourner, who uses Rock Tomb instead of its typical Wonder Room. He manages to knock out Torkoal, but it doesn't worry me since Ninetales can one-shot it with an Energy Ball, leaving Gordy with just his so much Volcano. Sorry to break it to you, Gordy, but size ain't everything. No matter how big your Colossal is, it'll still get intimidated by my puppy. I know this because even though I've grown taller, my phobia of dogs has not gone away. Having successfully stalled out the Dynamax, Salazzle is out next, using Thunder Wave to paralyze Gordy's last Pokemon. Since I can't do much damage, it gets knocked out, and Kabu Dynamaxes his ace. A single max Overgrowth wasn't powerful enough to finish the fight, but lucky for me, the paralysis prevented Gordy from trying any funny rock business. This gave me an extra turn to attack and win! Kabu is still in the running for champion, ladies and gentlemen. Having this 6th badge also means that I can unlock the Water Bike and go grab the TM for Solar Beam from Turffield for Ninetales. And then, no more of that. It's time to cut to the Champion Cup Finals, where Kabu would have to fight Raihan and Pierce anyways. So even though this is technically the gym battle, let's also pretend that it's the battle that goes down in Winden. Torkoal sets up some stealthy rocks, Pierce attacks with Brick Break, but our turtle has abs stronger than Brock's. Up next is a Malamar. He is quite fast, so we send send out Arcanine, who takes a Night Slash. We cook some calamari, the butler blocks our way, so we try to play it rough and get our throat chopped in the fray. Next up is Salazzle with a mighty sludge wave. It makes the stinky skuntank come out of its cave. We blast it with fire and it goes away. We got our 7th badge and move up in the tourney. Since Raihan wins against Milo, it's time for the 8th gym badge and also the 2nd match of the semifinals. Spider-Man meme. Torkoal v Torkoal, but our Torkoal is queen and also knows Earthquake. Raihan is actually smart here and uses Yawn on his first turn to set up sleep. Sadly, that means that even though my Torkoal is definitively better, it gets knocked out by sleeping on the job, just like Yar sleeping on CarQuest. Ninetales is next and also gets put to sleep. Raihan uses his full heal on the Torkoal and proceeds to slowly chip away at our health. Salazzle follows up and finally finishes off the turtle with a sludge wave. Raihan breaks character with Flygon and uses Earthquake to destroy Salazzle instead of setting up Sandstorm like he usually does. Arcanine is my last hope. Raihan returns to normal and actually sets up Sandstorm instead of attacking, so Flygon gets knocked out. Goodra tries to set up Rain Dance but gets knocked out by a Play Rough followed by an Iron Head, and then Thirdinator sets up a Sunny Day. Since Arcanine uses physical attacks, we also get hit hard from Raihan's Shell Trap moves. Our final attack didn't do enough damage to knock it out, so that means 1 turn of Dynamax has to be wasted on this middle-aged mutant ninja turtle. This worried me quite a lot since Duraludon has a good amount of physical bulk and knows max Rockfall. Thankfully, Scorch survived 1 hit and landed a G-Max Santiferno. Uh-oh. Having accepted defeat, I button mashed for 1 more attack and waited for the screen that says, haha, you lose! But to my surprise, the AI most definitely lost IQ points from that previous attack and used Duraludon's signature G-Max depletion attack instead of max Rockfall, which would have 100% knocked me out. Having plenty of HP to spare, Scorched attack 1 last time, knocking out Duraludon and winning the fight. The AI really threw that match. For the final battle of the Champion Cup, I had to face off against the one trainer that would give Kabu the most trouble. And since all the in-game rivals and B were pretty easy matches, the trainer will be none other than Nessa. Realizing that Golisopod would be trouble later on, I instantly set up Stealth Rock while Nessa did a little sword dance. Oh no. Torkoal got instantly liquidated. Salazzle was out next and managed to knock Golisopod's health below half with a Sludge Wave, triggering its ability and forcing Nessa to swap out. Next out was Nessa's Barraskewda, which one-shot us with a Drill Run. Arcanine intimidates the fish and takes it out with 2 extreme speeds. Golisopod is back at it again with them white vans, and see, this is why we set up the Stealth Rocks. Nessa uses her full heal to save her bug, but Arcanine brings its health below half once more with a Flare Blitz. Nessa might be getting tired of my shenanigans, so she sent out Seeking next and knocked out Arcanine with a Waterfall. Lucky for me, Ninetales was able to take out the fishy and also Quick Attack to take care of the Golisopod. How could I forget about the Pelican? Nessa uses her first turn to set up a Tailwind, but takes major damage from her extrasensory Fox. She then pulls a Hop and proceeds to spam Rooster in order to undo any damage and stall the fight. Thankfully, it also means she stalled out her own Tailwind, letting Ninetales sneak in the finishing blow. Go Dreadnought! Time to Gigantamax! Ninetales gets squished, and also reminds me that Nessa has a move that could practically one-shot her final Pokemon. So I send out Scorch, I Dynamax, and get outsped by Nessa. But again, the AI just keeps being dumber and dumber. So instead of using the move that would one-shot me, Nessa uses G-Max Stone Surge, which basically sets up Stealth Rock. So Scorch survives, lands a G-Max Overgrowth, and knocks out the turtle. So could Kabu win the Gym Challenge and the Champion Cup in order to fight Leon? Nope. Nessa and Raihan would both win their fights against him for sure. But since the game's AI is somehow dumber than I am, yes. So here we are, Kabu versus Leon. Can the Man of Fire become champion? Since Leon has Charizard, the best move would be to use turn 1 to set up Stealth Rocks. And it was a good call too, since Leon decided to waste it on a Protect. Then move 2 is to knock out Aegislash with an Earthquake. Leon actually does the exact same thing in return and takes down Torkoal with Haxorus. Arcanine is out next, trying to intimidate Haxorus and attacking it with Play Rough. Leon uses up his full restore to undo all our damage, but all he did was stall out an extra turn. Since I picked Scorbunny as my starter, Leon has Inteleon, and Inteleon Leon, he's fast and strong enough to KO my whole team. Ninetales survives one hit, but that wasn't strong enough to finish out Mr. Bond. And Salazzle got sniped out of existence. Centiskorch was my last hope. Dynamaxing and using Max Overgrowth, then Max Darkness on the Dragapult, and finally Max Sentiferno on the Tap Dancing Clown. Sadly, that means we're out of Dynamax turns, and Leon is just now sending out his Charizard. But hey, at least it lost half its health thanks to Stealth Rocks. Since Centiskorch is too slow, Galar's champion always ends up squishing Kabu's bug and maintains his title. Kabu came very close to actually becoming champion in this game. However, since none of his Pokemon can stand a chance against Inteleon, Kabu could not become champion. Of course, I always find some weird way to win these, so for Kabu, it would be with the power of... Thank you for watching this video. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed. Okay, bye! Enjoy the fire types. You'll never know the pain.